Bonjour tout le monde and bienvenue to French Crawl. So the Paris Olympics are over. It was a pretty amazing time, and I wanted to recap, go through kind of each day, what I saw, what I did. I was able to have the privilege of going to the opening ceremony, the closing ceremonies, and also about 26 competitions. So without further ado, c'est parti. So on July 24th, that was 2 days before the opening ceremonies, and that was day -2. So I was actually down in Marseille at the Velodrome to watch men's soccer. It was US against France. The atmosphere out there was incredible. A lot of people pre-gaming at the restaurants, at the bars around the stadium, and then there's tons of food trucks, tons of people out just sitting, enjoying themselves before the match. I'd imagine this is just how match day is in Marseille for their soccer team. I was curious about getting there, and there was just a lot of volunteers out there, a lot of people giving information, directing traffic, showing people where to go, which was great. And then getting through security was pretty straightforward. They were checking bags, looking to see what you had. Otherwise, you could bring food in, you could bring drinks in. And then once inside, food-wise, they had not a lot of things, but what I learned was in France, alcohol at sporting events is outlawed. And so you have to make a petition to serve alcohol at sporting events. And so with the Olympics, they decided that they were not going to apply for the permit. So all the venues had 0% beer, and that was going to be for the whole games. As for the match itself, France was just too strong. They destroyed the US 3-0. The US did have their chances, but they just could not capitalize when they had their shots.
Let's go, let's go.
It wasn't great that we lost, but at the same time, it was pretty fun just because of the home crowd. And France, obviously, they went on to the finals to lose and get silver, while the US actually did make it out of group play and got knocked out in the quarterfinals. On the way back, I stopped by this market to grab a drink because I was pretty thirsty. And I kind of realized like halfway through it that this place had a bunch of specialty items because there were different flavors of things, and just from things were from different countries. And then they had these bars of Snickers that were like different flavors that I had never seen before. It was like passion fruit and berry and lime. I took one just to try it. I took the passion fruit one. I went to the counter and I talked to French to the guy who was there, and I was like, hey, I've never seen this flavor before. And he was like, oh, Snickers is US. And I was like, yeah, Snickers is US, but these flavors are not in the US. And so he looked at it and realized, oh, looked like it was Portuguese. We kind of had a laugh about that. And then he looked at my shirt and saw how I was wearing US gear and my US hat. And so he was like, hey, sorry about the match tonight. And I was like, I was kind of laughing. I was like, don't worry about it. France is too strong. That's why they're the favorites at the Olympics for a reason. They had a really good squad. He was like, what do you think of the stadium? And I was like, great stadium, great atmosphere, really enjoyed it. I asked him, like, how's Marseille's team? And at that point, he kind of like, shoulders kind of slumped, and he went into like a little rant in French that I couldn't really follow. But then I kind of understood the gist of it, and I was like, je comprends, c'est la tradition. And then he pointed at me, and he was like, yes, exactly. And so we had a good laugh about that, and I was just kind of like, understood where he's coming from. It's like, it's your home team, you support them no matter what. And I remember being at the stadium and seeing pictures of all the fans with their arms around each other in unity. And I was just like, I totally get that. supporting some really bad teams over the years as well. And I feel like Marseille, in a lot of ways, it's kind of like a second city in France in terms of reputation. And so I think maybe that aspect of it was kind of interesting to me too, that they're kind of the underdog, right? So, but I really liked it, really enjoyed being there. It reminded me of like, at times, San Fran or Lisbon, just because of, I think, the water and the layout and the hills in the city as well. So really enjoyed my time in Marseille and the atmosphere at the stadium.
Ici à Marseille pour ce match 1 entre les Français et les Italiens.